Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Welcome back to another episode of Word Docs. It is in fact our last episode of Word Docs for 2020. It's been a roller coaster of a year, and one of the things that has kept me on track and in vigorous mental health is talking with my two friends and colleagues here, Dr. Amy T. Matthews.
Hello.
And Dr. Alex Vickery-Howe.
Hello. I love that we've contributed to your mental health, because I would think that we were in serious danger of sucking it away.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say whether it was good mental health or not, just
that is true. We just contributed.
What we thought we would do today is talk about the year that's been, in a wide-ranging, hopefully interesting conversation about what our resolutions were at the beginning of the year and what they might be for 2021 ahead. And my resolutions for this year were pretty simple. It was to start full-time teaching at Flinders and somehow not go insane.
Tick.
And still write over the top. Tick. Well, I didn't do much writing on the top of teaching, but it was certainly a challenging and interesting experience.
You wrote a lot of music.
I wrote a lot of music instead, yes. I found that very therapeutic, and that did keep me sane.
You actually had a book out this year too, so this Sean's version of not writing a lot is pretty successful.
Yeah. I know Sean's version of unproductive is my version of.
Let's see. I had a short story collection out. I had a novel out. I had 3 albums out. I had some short stories come out. That's such a sucky year.
Yeah.
But, I wrote most of that in previous years, so I didn't write most of that. That's the great thing about the long lead-in times in the publishing industry, that it may look like I've been incredibly productive this year, but really I did most of that work last year and even the year before. Unlike Amy, you've been extremely productive writing-wise this year.
I'm opposite end of the spectrum, where I've got nothing out this year. I had 1 short story, and I've got nothing out next year so far, but I've been doing all the work for 2022, basically.
Yeah.
So in 2022, I'm going to look really successful. This year, I just look like a tired loser.
No, not at all. I just hope that 2022, the world is
Still here.
Still here. Yeah, I was trying to find a nicer way to say it and thought there's no nicer way to say it. I was watching, because I'm staying with my parents at the moment, like George Costanza. I'm doing well with my life and I've moved back in with my parents. I should say it's because I'm selling a place and building another, which sounds better. But Dad, I'm going to shame him, Malcolm Vickery-Howe, enjoys at about 3 p.m. watching Britain's Got Talent on his tablet, and sometimes plays the piano. But I've noticed that Britain's Got Talent in COVID is now virtual, right? Like, I think it's either that or the X Factor or both, I'm not sure. And so the audience is virtual. And if you recall, there's a Black Mirror episode where precisely that happens. And so I had this moment this year where I thought, we are living in what was a few years ago a dystopian future, which is just a very big roundabout Alex way of saying, I hope for the best in 2022, and that the Prime Minister doesn't have to sleep with a pig.
Oh, don't. That episode, I can't. I'm still scarred from that episode. Oh, man. It's been a funny year, because I feel like, I've seen a lot of wrap-up talk at the end of the year about how actually lockdown had its up points. And you kind of think it probably depends who you are and where you are. And because, some people have really financially struggled. I think JobKeeper was amazing in Australia, but some people were ineligible for it, like casuals at universities were ineligible to it. But
or people that have been working in a company for not quite long enough.
Yeah. Whereas, but
Really
then
tough.
for those of us who are quite protected, it gave some people an opportunity to slow down and get their health under control and their mental health. Like, I actually think our world has gotten so busy.
Yeah, and so many people are reevaluating everything. I went to, here's a little plug. Am I allowed to plug a restaurant on here, or is that bad? I went to a restaurant, or should I say, I went to Beyond India in North Adelaide. There are other restaurants in North
That's
Adelaide.
a good Indian place. We order
This is not cash for comment. and the gentleman who I believe manages this restaurant was telling me that he's, it was difficult at first, but there was takeaway orders that sustained them. But he said he got a puppy, and not only did he get a puppy, but he is the daddy of the puppy and is the puppy's favourite. And none of that would have happened otherwise. And I thought more and more I'm hearing these kinds of stories. And I acknowledge that for some people it's been hideous, but there has been an increase in humanity, if I could say that. Even in all the awful stories, I think that empathy and community, bizarrely, because we've been physically separate, but empathy and community are on people's minds more now, I think.
I hope so.
Is that fair to say?
I wonder if also, because I know there's been some, future thinkers who talk about where the world's going, who are starting to posit that people have used 2020 as a way to reevaluate their values and to think, what do I actually want from my life? And, for those of us in Australia, I mean, air travel's pretty much off the table for most people. It's ridiculously expensive, and it's just not a thing that's going to be such a common part of our lives probably for at least another year, and that makes you reevaluate how much you need to travel, how you live, I think. I've quite enjoyed staying home all year.
Oh, yeah, I've loved it, actually. It's been nice. I haven't gone on a plane all year. It's the first time for so long. It's been quite refreshing, and I guess because I was in a stable employment situation and in a stable relationship situation too, it was quite nice being in lockdown. Everything was quieter, the air was fresher. But if I'd been alone or, in a mental health crisis and having no money, it would have been deeply upsetting times.
I did find teaching online helped. I liked teaching online in second semester. First semester with OSP was quite hard. I felt quite locked in my own head. Once I could get out and talk to people, that was okay. Even if it was just online, it helped.
I don't know if it was you who said it in a previous episode, Amy, or perhaps my aunt or my father. I don't mean to confuse you with these people.
Clearly, I'm in an authority figure position here, Alex.
Somebody said, isn't it lovely that we are choosing to honour the lockdown to protect the vulnerable in our community? It may have been you, it may have been another wise soul. But I love the idea that through all of this hardship and economic upheaval and mental health, as you mentioned, and personal circumstances being affected and so on, that actually the macro thing that was being achieved in 2020 was for us to protect the vulnerable collectively, and that most of us chose to do that. Most of us honoured the rules and the restrictions that were in place. Most of us chose to put ourselves at a disadvantage for the greater good, and other societies around the world have not done that. So there's something lovely in the sense that we've made that choice and honoured that choice, I think.
Yeah.
Most of us, as you say, there was still COVID-idiots protesting every now and again. It's a terrible term. I shouldn't use that term, but there are people
I'm quite cool with it.
Is it like a basket of deplorables? Sure.
Yes. I would put them in that basket too.
Hey, so I've got a question. Before we hit 2020, before COVID happened, did you have any new resolutions? So Sean was saying that he wanted to teach full-time for the first time. What was the second one?
Write some books. I had two particular books, and I would have been happy writing one of them this year, and I started neither of them.
Teaching full-time's huge. I didn't do any. I didn't write a book the first 2 years I was teaching full-time.
It's a shock to the system. I think a whole new system of things to learn.
Yeah.
So much to get my head around.
So what about you, Alex? Did you have any goals?
I think my goal, which I didn't really achieve, was to expand beyond theatre, because I think
you have started. You published short stories.
I have started, but I think that, and that's not to cast dispersions on theatre, but I wanted to prove that I could write in other spaces. And yes, I did get the short story up, but then what happened with COVID is, weirdly, I had theatre opportunities that came out of that. So I haven't quite done what I wanted to do, but I think I've taken a tiptoe in that direction, which has been rewarding. But
those theatre opportunities put you in the rather strange position of being in between Amy and I. Amy did lots of writing, but the books won't come out till 2022. I had lots out, but didn't do much writing. You did lots of writing and had stuff coming out. So, which is, I guess, what the university would love us all to do, but normally there are immense lags that get in the way.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm not, it sounds like I'm complaining. I'm enormously grateful for the opportunity that the State Theatre gave me this year, and the opportunity to do something that I didn't get over-edited or over-dramatized. Here's something, I'm going to throw it out there. Love me, hate me, there it is. I loved that. I really enjoyed that. It was a kind of welcome surprise, but I think I have this fantasy of just having more writing time in general, and COVID did not necessarily you'd think that if you're locked inside all day that would happen, but other things kind of knocked on the door. But
all those Moscato deliveries.
All those Moscato deliveries.
Literally knocking on the door.
The fantasy real estate shopping. You and I,
a lot of fantasy real estate shopping, But I'm being very selfish now and just going, no, I write 2,000 words a day, and that is what I do, and everything else will be subject to that come hell or high water.
Awesome.
So that's been fun.
Yeah. One thing I'm picking up from what you're saying that actually feels very true to me this year is one thing 2020 got us to do is be consciously flexible, is to go, okay, well, I can't do all these things, but I'm going to see what I can do, because I feel like we get very rigid. I mean, one thing about being in the academy is it's very rigid, is that we all just did our performance reviews. You know, you fill in those forms and they put your data, this is what you've done, this is how many people you've taught. And it's always sort of, there's a bit of a lag, obviously, because they're looking at some old data. So like your student evaluations are from last year and that stuff. But it's very rigid and it gets you very locked into what are you planning on doing in the next 12 months, and you put it down and then you feel a little bit trapped by it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
This is now who I am. Yeah.
I know I had study leave, and to get study leave, you have to go, this is rigidly what I'm doing. And then my whole career shifted a bit because I changed agents and had different opportunities. Like the way the state theatre cropped up for you could never have put that in any plan, because it was just a COVID happened and then this thing happened, which is amazing. But that kind of flexibility, I feel like we've learnt to embrace that a little bit more this year.
And even, this podcast was kind of an unexpected delight in lots of ways, that it was an idea floated initially by Sean, I think. And we kind of probably were drunk at the time, I don't know, or certainly tipsy.
Almost certainly.
And it has grown into something, I think, bigger than expected, and something that I think has worked. Not that I didn't think it would work, but I didn't think it would work as well, or that I would look forward to it as much every week, and particularly during lockdown.
Who knew we'd have so much to say? Well, actually, anybody who knows us would have known that, I guess.
I do worry we repeat ourselves a lot.
Oh, we do. We're like old people in a nursing home. Just let me tell you another story about my writing. But we're having fun. That's the main thing.
That is the main thing.
It is the main thing.
So next year,
hopefully.
Any ideas what you want to be flexible about next year?
Well, I'd like to try writing. I figure I've got another year's grace if I need it up my sleeve, but I think it'd be good to try something. And I did have an opportunity arrive in my inbox yesterday, which is a sort of a short writing project that would get my head back in the game a little bit. So I'll probably do that. Plus music, and teaching and all those new subjects we have to take next year. And who knows what restructures are coming with a new leader to our college. There'll be plenty of things to keep us flexible. What about you, Amy? Did you talk about your goals for this year? You knew what they were, I guess, to a certain extent.
I was changing agents. I couldn't tell anyone about it, but I'd already talked to my old agent and made plans. So my goal was to get a new agent, which I did. And then I was writing, part of my OSP was to write a new kind of genre book, which I've done, this contemporary, which has gone off into the ether. And then write the historicals. I have not achieved the scholarly articles I wanted to do, but I think it was too much anyway. Like I'd planned, I was kind of, I'm talking out of school here, but the university I feel like expects too much. There's still this real push and pull between the creative research and the traditional research, and so there was this expectation, there's kind of this expectation on us that we produce as much traditional research as the traditional researchers, as well as doing creative research. So I haven't got them finished. I've got 2 articles in draft stage that are just going to take a little bit longer, and I can't help it. Being a perfectionist, I always feel like I'm failing. So that is contributing to this sense of being a total failure no matter what I do. So I've got to do that over the summer. So I haven't completed that, and I also haven't completed the historical book, but it's not due until the 15th of March. So
tons of time.
Yeah, I've done the outline. It's weeks. I've done the outline and I've started the first 3. I've got the first chapters, so that's okay. And
so how many words a day will that be? That'll be...
I haven't worked it out. You just talk amongst yourselves. I'll use my calculator.
As you mathematically work it out. It might be quite a frightening
Christmas
calculation.
Is clearly a write-off, so...
One of the things that I had planned to do this year, or has evolved as a task to do this year that I haven't really done, is collaborate with you, Alex. We've certainly done a lot of wonderful talking about collaborating over hot chocolate, and
I think that is our collaboration. We should just bring a camera, and it can be like...
Word docs.
What's the thing with Rob Brydon and the wonderful...
The Trip. Is it The Trip?
The Trip. We could just do that. Just Sean and I going to chocolate places. No, absolutely. That's an ongoing conversation. And I think...
It's a goal for next year.
I think that's a goal for next year, definitely. I think that time is probably necessary, I would argue. I think to kind of get a feel for the sorts of things the other person's interested in, the sorts of working styles. I think all of that's been valuable. And I've enjoyed the hot chocolate, so I think that's been great.
I think it has to stay fun and playful. I just did the maths. It's about 7,900 words a week.
Oh, a week, I was going to say.
I thought you were going to say a day. Jeez.
At the end of the last book, I was doing lots of words a day.
You were. That's why. That was part of the reason I raised it, because it got a bit intimidating after a while.
Well, but that's, I've
worried.
said to you before, that's my process. I'm super slow at the beginning, and then the last
you go
third,
mental.
I pounded out. I think I can't remember. What were the word lengths at the end? I was doing like
Oh, it was
12,000 words a
insane.
day or something.
Some of the texts we were getting were insane. I thought, all I've done today is my washing, and she's written, X number of chapters.
But now I'm in burnout. This is my pattern. I didn't get sick, but I get really tired, and it's really hard.
You didn't get sick and you didn't make us cake.
No,
Yeah, where's the
still owe you
freaking cake? We're making hot chocolates. Where's the cake?
I do owe you
Where's
cake
the scones?
and scones. There wasn't
much for
any
procrastinating.
I haven't even made Christmas biscuits this year. Nothing's happened. But I did hit the wall where like it's hard to open an email. So I finished the book 3 weeks ago, and I've kept up. I had 2 PhD students submit last week too. That was a lot of work.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But then this week, I'm just like, it's so hard to even read an email. I was like, I've got no energy. I've got nothing.
When you just hit capacity, where you just go, I was like that in the middle of the marking when I got a little psycho there for a while.
Marking. Yeah,
And
doing
I just
marking.
stopped being able to function. I was like, don't tell me anything. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But when you were doing your calculations, you remind me of my father the other day trying to do the calculations on my mortgage and getting it so
Again, I'm his
badly
father,
wrong.
Sean. Suddenly I'm
I keep saying it. Yeah, it's not good. He handed the calculator to me and said, son, these are going to be your fortnightly repayments. And he handed it over to me, and the figure was $199,000. And I looked over at him.
Fortnightly.
Yeah, fortnightly. I looked over at him, and he's just nodding solemnly at me. And I went, have another look.
He's messing with you, Alex. He must be.
No. That was a moment.
Oh, please tell, because you haven't told our listeners, please tell them the Indiana Jones stories. Alex is having a great time at home.
I'm living with mum and dad, who are wonderful human beings, but I could just leave a dictaphone going and we'd have a wonderful sitcom.
Verbatim theatre, basically.
Verbatim theatre, yeah, absolutely. So I was trying to get Dad to remember Harrison Ford's name, and let's bear in mind Harrison Ford has been Malcolm's favourite actor since I was very, very young. I said it starts with an H, and he said, no, it doesn't. You're tricking me. No, that does no. And then I said, okay, can you try and name the Indiana Jones movies? What are the titles? Mum chimed in with, you're tricking him because it's Indiana Skywalker. I said, no, we're not even acknowledging that. We ended up with Indiana Jones and the Taj Mahal. Indiana Jones and the Cup of Christ, which to be fair was kind of
ballpark. We're in the ballpark.
In the ballpark,
right country, metaphorically at least.
Metaphorically, and then I can't remember what Raiders of the Lost Ark became, but it was the Hunters of the Lost. At one point, it was Hunters of the Lost Phallus. That came out there.
There are plenty of people who would watch that film, and maybe that's what number 5 is going to be called.
Indy 5, Hunters of the Lost Phallus. But the actual kind of heartwarming part of that whole conversation is I said, Dad, I was trying to get him to remember The Last Crusade. I said, Dad, what were Indy and his father looking for? What did they really want? What were they searching for? And he looked at me very sincerely, right into my eyes and said, each other's son. They were looking for each other. And I thought,
so true, Mal.
That's beautiful.
So true, Mal.
So this year has brought lots of property developments for each of us. So Amy, you've been renovating.
It's true, actually.
I've been renovating, bought a block. Alex, you've sold a place. You've bought a new place off the plan.
How did we find time for any of this?
Exactly. That was my point. Not to mention the money.
Yeah, oh God.
We should have just all moved in together. If we'd pooled our resources, we could have had like a writing palace, a dysfunctional writing palace.
Yeah, well, we bulldozed the back of our house off 2 weeks before COVID and lockdown. I remember thinking, oh God, this is a money pit. And we are late because we had a second lockdown recently. So we were supposed to be in by Christmas, but it'll be January sometime now.
Yeah, our bathroom's running late. We could have bought that big house on the corner of South Terrace and Hutt Street that needs renovating. We could have lived in that.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Can we just run away somewhere a bit more remote? Can we go away from people?
In fact, we could start a writing school in that big house.
Oh, like Hogwarts with pens.
Oh, Hogwarts is where
You're a writer, Ari.
Mr. Potter, our new celebrity.
You would heaps be Snape. You would totally go there, wouldn't you? You'd be the potions master.
I'd be the potions master. But for a while they were calling me Snape, and they were calling Peter Beaglehole Dumbledore. And I kind of went, oh, that's kind of lovely for him.
I feel like I'd be
iffy for me.
the twitty one that reads tea leaves. Only sometimes gets it right.
Trelawney, Professor Trelawney, yes.
Who would I be? Bug-Eye Moody or whatever his name is. One-Eyed Moody.
I could totally see that.
Mad-Eyed Moody, or Jim Broadbent as Horace Slughorn, who's, despite the horrible name, a very affable and gentle teacher.
Well, who's the Kenneth Branagh one?
Oh, Lockhart. Yeah.
I should know this. I've read the books. I've just got
Why
no
did I
brain
open
left.
this can of worms?
There's no brain. What I really want to do is just read books and watch movies.
So have you got holidays planned, you two, over the break? Have you got...
Well, our lovely... We're just going to give him some props because it just
let's
happened.
give Colin some props. Colin, if you're listening...
Our VC has just been kind and said we can have an extra few days of paid annual leave. So from the 18th of December, we're all off.
We're off.
Yay,
We're out there.
to the 4th
Party.
of January. I'm coming back in January though because I've got a book to write and I've got a curriculum to write, and so I'm not taking January off.
So we're recording this having just received that announcement, but this will probably go to air after we've taken those days off. This will
We'll
be...
be
Something
so
melancholy
relaxed.
about that, Sean. it's like the break's already over.
Do you guys actually take your, like, I do if I go away, like if we often go skiing in July, or now I sound like a real privileged twat, but, you know, like we often will go take some holidays at some point. We'll go to the beach or, but unless I go away, I really am pretty pathetic at taking the days off.
I know. I would still keep writing. I just wouldn't answer my emails, I think.
Yeah, that's the bit I'm looking forward to because I don't think I can stop writing with that many words to write, but
No,
I
you
love the thought of not answering emails.
It throws all of your mathematics off. You have to do 199,000 words per day. That's all going to get messy.
Thanks, Mal.
Thanks, Mal. Can I ask a question and you can tell me if this is illegal or not? This is a new segment. It's a new segment I'm trying out for Christmas, talking about house renovations and so on. I've always wanted a library with a bookshelf that opens to a secret room.
Oh, you can buy
you can
them.
do
There
that.
are places that make them.
Really? But is that legal?
I've got a fun story that's similar to a bookshelf. Recently, we went away to stay down at the beach with another couple, and we went out to the Victory Hotel for dinner. So earlier context, we'd been doing some winery tours, and we're at a winery, and this group of people came in who worked at a local restaurant down there, and they were yapping at us. And then we got to the Victory Hotel, and they were there, and they were like, "Oh, we've got a dinner booked downstairs in the beach. Come and join us." So we got to go down in the cellar, and they have this giant bookshelf that opens up and you go down this little corridor, this stone corridor, and this is where they keep all this mega secret wines that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So people do it.
Wow.
So you could have like a little opening and a corridor to... What are you keeping in there?
If you go to Concubine Restaurant on Guja Street in town, you can book a special room. In fact, we should have a special Word Docs dinner there one night, and the doorway is through a bookcase. There's a secret panel.
There's a bar in Lindy's Lane as well that has the secret... You go behind the fireplace into the secret bar.
Really?
Yeah,
When
it's
I was
pretty
in
cool.
Okinawa, my friend Shu took me down a dark alley one night and he said, "I'm going to take you to the Milo bar." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "A secret bar." And it was down an alley and then you went up a stairs and all they gave you was Milo mixed with alcohol. It was the Milo bar.
Oh,
The Milo bar.
no.
So you had brandy and Milo.
That's amazing.
And it's all very smoky and very shadowy, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. If you're going to have the bookshelf secret room, though, it would have to be a study or maybe a room with a jukebox in it, because that's my other fantasy, to have a jukebox in my house.
That's an achievable goal.
What about a toilet?
No, because that's weird, because someone might swing that shelf away.
Oh, have a lock on it. And it's a secret door. No one can bother you in there, and there's lots of reading material.
But there's something disturbing about that, right?
Yeah, there is.
I'd want a disco room. I want a disco room, like in Mystery Men. Into the disco room, and you swing the shelf, and there's a dance.
I love
That's
that film.
achievable. Do this in your flat. Just put a bookshelf of
It's not quite achievable in the flat. I don't think.
Are the plans finalised? Is it too late to add an extra secret disco
How
room?
much would it cost to do? Would they be excited by the challenge?
They'd be excited by the variation charges they could give you.
Yes.
No doubt.
Excited by the challenge, annoyed by the client. I think that would probably be the way it would fall.
Well, so 2021, I'm looking forward to moving into a new house. That's going to be lovely.
I'm looking forward to visiting your new house and having some scones.
Okay, done. Challenge accepted.
Scones and champagne.
Done. Or Moscato and Alex and
Or brandy and Milo.
Oh,
Sean's
sounds
not down
horrible.
for that. Milo.
So 2021, we've got about a minute to list our wish list for 2021. So COVID vaccine would be up there for me.
Yes. I want to finish this stupid Western that I'm writing. That is not stupid. It'd be fun. But I want to finish that. I want to move into my new house. I want to finish these couple of academic articles. Write new curriculum. Light year. Easy year.
Tired just
With two
listening to
teenagers.
Yeah. Year 11. One of mine's going to year 11 too. So starting his
serious.
space. So that's stressful.
Wow.
Alex, what are you up to?
that. Well, similar to you, I've put all these abstracts out there that need to become articles. I met some lovely academics this year, actually, from other universities and people that run journals. Really lovely people that I had Zoom chats with and went, here's an abstract. And they went, yeah, we'd love you to do that. And then I just let it go. So I need to tie that up. Collaborations with Sean, finishing the books. I do hope we have an American president by 2021 that the general populace agrees to. I think that would be very nice. And yes, some new classes as well. So it's that mixed bag. Sean.
I'd like to lose some weight, do some writing, make some more music, become a better teacher. What else? That's it.
You come to the gym with me.
Hank.
Hank,
see Hank.
we could all go to Hank's. He does it at home, is that right?
It's a business. It's a small gym, but actually his technique, which works for me and could work for you, is he's a real film buff and a bit of a book buff, and so he engages you in conversation while you're lifting things, and it does make it a lot easier. So that could be good.
Like a dentist, except you can reply.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing worse than a dentist that asks questions and then the pain begins.
I keep telling my dentist he has to learn sign language, or at least to be able to read it so I could talk to him.
What are you guys doing Christmas Day? What's your plan?
We'll do the same thing we always do, which is we'll go play frisbee in the park with Amanda's boys.
Aww.
That's quite nice. Yeah, and maybe it'll rain, maybe it'll be 40 degrees, but that's what we'll do, come hell or high water. What about you guys?
I'm going to steal that tradition and just take Mao to the park with a frisbee and say we're starting a new
Is that all you do? You surely have lunch as well.
Oh, we'll have a light lunch, casual lunch. We'll go up to Wallaroo to have a big family Christmas with my mum the next day, and Amanda's family's in Melbourne. I'm not a big fan of a big Christmas day. I'd rather just stay at home and read a book.
You're more of a New Year's guy, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was, well, we expect the invitation then.
If we're allowed to have parties.
Sean is actually an incredible DJ. I've always had an amazing time whenever you DJ until Vienna kicks us out.
Vienna's the signal.
That's it. Get
As
out.
soon as you hear that heartbeat.
Yeah.
Do-do.
That feeling. Yeah. What about you, Amy?
We're doing a really small one because my mum's been sick, so it's just at our little flat, and it's just Johnny, the kids, and my parents, and then we'll see Johnny's parents Christmas Eve. Yeah, it's a small, quiet one this year. It's what everyone felt like.
I think that's kind of nice. We've got this tradition now where we all have Indian for Christmas Day, which has to be the weirdest Vickery Howe tradition.
It's a bit like Bridget Jones' turkey buffet.
We have Indian, we get tanked, and then we try and get back from the Indian to my aunt's house with varied success.
Oh, well, you could just do it at Port Elliot because there's that Mexican Indian place just around the corner.
I've got to do the Mexican Indian at Port Elliot. Now, that actually hurts my brain a little bit. Is it Mexican from an Indian perspective? Is it Indian from a Mexican perspective? Is it two chefs that have nothing to do with each other?
You can have Mexican or Indian.
Or you have nachos followed by naan?
Or is it from a Mexican
Nachos.
person who lived in India, and so it's the kind of Mexican food you'd cook in India?
That's what yes.
Yeah.
And then my mum tried to say it's a chain. It's not a chain, I don't think, is it? She says they're all over Adelaide, but I think that's only in her mind.
What's it called?
Indomex.
I'm Googling.
You gone to your local Indomex lately?
Yeah, and we expect some vouchers for all the mentions we drop.
Well, maybe we'll leave the question of what's on the menu for our first episode of 2021. I hope everybody has a fantastic Christmas and New Year celebration. I hope you get holidays and time off with your family and loved ones. I hope you stay well, not too hungover and well fed, and not too stressed out. And obviously, I wish the same to you guys. Alex and Amy, thanks for being available available for another episode, and thanks for being such good company this year.
Back at ya.
Back at you, Tiger.
Enjoy your frisbeeing.
Are you good with the frisbee? Because I don't want to sound condescending, but you're not good with the high five. So are you good with the frisbee?
Frisbees only involve one hand, so I'm okay with it.
That's the skill. That's the skill. And we should say thank you
The
to
sound
everyone
of
who's
one hand
listened.
frisbeeing.
I know.
I know, I always go there. There's just no impulse control. It's not happening.
I was going to say thank you to our listeners. Thank
Yeah.
you for persevering with us over the course of the year.
One day we'll get the hang of it. Maybe 2021.
Hopefully, yeah, one day we'll come up with something coherent. But hopefully we've been interesting, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Whimsical.
Diverting.
Diverted.
Perverted for a second.
Demented. Well, happy writing if you get any writing done over this
Happy writing.
new break.
Happy holidays.
Yes. Happy New Year.
Well, I guess I'll have to say it one more time too.
Everyone ready? 1, 2,
3.
Happy writing.
Yay!
Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Fa la 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 la.
Boughs of folly.
What is it? Is it-
Bells of holly.
What did I say? Boughs
no,
of
it's
holly.
boughs. It's right. It is boughs of holly, but it's not bowels of holly.
Bowels of holly. That
What's
would
the
be
other?
painful.
Good King Wenceslas looked out at the feast of Stephen. I don't know what else he did after that.
You know, I just used that tune as the core of a 31-minute ambient extravaganza that's coming out in a week or so.
Could you do it one to, I think it's called Carol of the Bells, which is the really haunting one that's in Home Alone that goes dot dee 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 doot da 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 dee da 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 dot da 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 dot. That one scares the hell out of me. Do you know the one I mean, or have I just done it
Yeah, I know
badly?
the Carol of the Bells.
The Carol of the
That
Bells. You could have Emperor Palpatine coming down the stairs and dot dee 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 dot da da da.
Tempting.
I wish I knew the words.
I'm not sure where to go from there.
Claps. We must do claps.
Thank you, Alex.
Clapping.
This is Alex's supreme clap.
Supreme clap.
So, yeah, I feel a bit inadequate now.
Amy, you are the opposite of inadequate, which would just be adequate, wouldn't it? Sorry.
Adequate.
You're adequate,
I'm
Amy.
perfectly adequate. I'm happy with being adequate. It's fine.
One of my mum's last students said to her, "You're just a mean old witch." And one of the other kids went, "Now that's really not fair. She's actually not that old."
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.